What is up? Welcome everybody to another episode of Middle-Aged Apocalypse. I am Greg. This is Hans. What is up? Oh, that's a funny shirt, man. What were you just saying? You were just saying you were in a super liberal town and you were getting compliments from the liberals.
Oh yeah. Camden, Maine. Yeah. Not a supporter whatsoever, but that's a great shirt. And I'm like, thanks, but you support her? She's got the brain density of a rock. We're like, well, not really gonna argue with that. So we're finding common ground. Look at that.
Oh
We
boy.
can all still coexist, like those stickers you have on the back of your Priuses and your little hybrid Toyota Corollas. It's fine. Your Subaru is okay. It's okay. We're not gonna we're not gonna run you off the road with our big mean trucks. Ugh,
Have you seen those new Priuses? They actually look way better than they used to look.
probably. I just don't pay attention to anything that doesn't have a loud exhaust.
Yeah, well, I saw one and I was like, "What is that?" I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out what it was, and
Yeah,
and
those things, I mean, if I can't hear it, I'm not paying attention to it, which is kind of a problem. Like, that's why people for, I don't know, 50 years have had stickers, loud pipe save lives, the bikers.
yeah.
It's,
Have you noticed, like, when you're in a parking lot or something, now all the electric cars they make like a weird noise when they're backing up. They're like, it's like,
yeah. I saw that at that Walmart the other day. That was the only way I didn't back my pickup into them.
oh yeah,
That weird, like, weaning noise. It's like, wee. Yeah.
yeah. Very strange.
There's like a, I think there's an option on some of the EVs that they have like a speaker built in somewhere that'll make like the noise of a motor, which I think is
Oh yeah.
completely
Some
ridiculous.
some of those companies do. Elon's always putting new sounds in there
Yeah,
that you can fucking play.
so dumb,
I
dude.
think like the new Porsche has the Porsche has that option.
Really,
I think so. I don't remember. It's
I
kind of weird.
I didn't see. Is that fully electronic?
I believe so, yeah. Well, I think they have a version, yeah, that is.
Because their hybrid one, I passed one of those the other day, a brand new one. That thing was so sharp, and it still sounded like a Porsche. I was like, that's cool. And
Yeah.
I looked up the stats. If you're just cruising on the highway, I think they do that cylinder shutdown thing, and you can be cruising at like 75 miles an hour, and the thing's getting like something dumb. I don't even remember. I'd have to look it up, like 75 miles a gallon or something stupid like that. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the really cool thing about Porsche is that Porsche tells you, like, at the dealership, they're like, this is not like a sports car that you just leave around and drive once or twice a month. They're like, we build these things to be daily drivers. Why do you think we make an
Right.
all-wheel drive version? So you can drive in the winter, you can drive in the sand, you can drive in the snow, you can drive anywhere. So, I mean, they design them just to be used all the time, and which is, I think, is really cool. And subsequently, their maintenance is like miles cheaper than like a Lambo or a Ferrari. Granted, you're spending like 100 grand less. Well, nah, that depends on the model. I mean, if you're going with like an S or something like that, you're upwards. You're into the 220,000 range with a top of the line Porsche, if not more these days, especially. But
Yeah.
I just think that's wicked cool. I mean, if I win the lottery, that's exactly what I do. People be like, "You're driving a Porsche in the snow. It's getting salt all over it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's my daily driver, bro. What, you got a problem with that?" 100%, 100%. How many miles you get on that thing? I don't know, 194,000. Why would you do that to a sports car so beautiful? What it's for? It's just a car, lady or
Mm.
dude or whoever you are, whatever your preferred pronouns are. Oh yeah, that was a funny one. My buddy and I were going back and forth, and I was like, when is it going to get to the point? Because no one talks about piracy anymore, and it's you remember 10, 15 years ago, that was the whole thing. Remember that South Park episode, Fat Beard, where Cartman takes the boys and they go over to Somalia to become pirates?
Oh, right, because of the Somali pirate stuff that went down. Yeah.
Yeah, no one talks about piracy anymore, but now it's worse than ever. No, and no one reports on it. Who knows why they selectively report, but like the New York
What?
Times the other morning, the New York Times, the first four headlines were all about Trump and nothing about the hurricane. They don't care. So who knows why they do the things they do, but piracy is
Yeah.
horrifying these days, and no one does anything about it. So I said to my buddy Josh, I was like, when are they going to tell us we can't use the word pirate? And they're just going to be what did what did labeled as like oh because they make us use all these different ridiculous phrases. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to say this anymore. You have to say that. I don't remember, but basically like they're the freedom fighters in need or something like that.
Yeah.
There are oceanographic freedom alleviators or just some long-winded thing that you
Right.
and if you don't say it, then it's like saying Kamala instead of Kamala. You're immediately a racist or a horrible person. It's like, how everywhere I go my whole life growing up, people, Mr. Hands, Mr. Hands, it's fucking Hans, dude. Okay. You ever seen Die Hard, for sake? Wake up.
Right.
His name was Hans Gruber. That's how it's pronounced. And no, that doesn't mean I'm German immediately because Hans, fun fact, is not a last name typically in German culture. It's a first name. Hans is a last name in Bavaria and the Netherlands. So,
No shit.
yeah,
Huh.
yep, yep. A lot of people, basically everybody doesn't know that. So, fun fact for the kids out there.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny you brought up the Somali pirates. I just recently heard something about that. I can't remember if it was someone on a podcast or a clip I saw, but they were talking about how those Somalis were essentially forced into piracy because the big fishing companies, they all came in and fished up all of their like food supply that they survive on.
yeah, they
Like
overfish the shit
that's
out of everything. Yeah,
yeah, that's what they fish for a daily meal. Like and
yeah,
so they had no other choice. They're like, well, what are we supposed to do?
right.
And it drove them to start taking back their fish and
Yeah,
going after these fishing companies.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was pretty interesting.
Who was it? Kevin. Remember they hopped on that French cruise ship and he pulls out a fake lightsaber and all the French attendants on the boat are like, "Oh, lightsaber, lightsaber, wee!" And they're all terrified of it, and then they're just
What was this?
that South Park episode,
Oh shit! Gosh.
lightsaber, terrible, and they just run away and takes over an entire cruise ship and pulls into the pirates' docking bay, and they're just like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, none of those little boats anymore, boys. Come on, ahoy!" So ridiculous. Uh,
Dude, that's funny.
it's why, dude. Like, did we talk about that in the last one? How? No, my buddy and I were talking about that. I think just like how South Park and Family Guy and The Simpsons too have predicted so much over the last 20 years. It's just wild. But
Yeah.
I think you and I were talking about that, right? Was that me and you, or that might have been me and Rylan? Because like I don't know, because they if you attend those Hollywood parties, you're going to hear the whispers. Was that you and I that was talking about that?
I'm pretty sure we've had a discussion about it before. I don't think it was recently though.
You know, like Trey Trey Parker and what's his buddy there, Matt Stone. Like, think about it. You need, hey, let's go get some dirt. We have like a million invitations and we never go to anything. Let's just go walk around and meander and hear the whispers and the weird conversations and the talks, and that's where they can get all the dirt to be able to predict these things. You know, I would imagine
Yeah.
younger, not I wouldn't imagine these days, but Matt Groening, you know, he's old, the dude that created The Simpsons. So I'd imagine he probably just sends one of his writers in the same likes into a some fancy Hollywood schmoozy boozy party that people just start smacking their lips talking about shit too loud once they got a little buzz on. You know what I mean?
If I remember correctly, I think he has some connection with the Freemasons or some one of those old um like New World Order organizations.
Yeah,
Um that there's theories out there that he does know, like he's told ahead of time. Um and it's kind of like that predictive programming stuff, but also you know how they show us stuff so we don't freak out when it happens.
yeah, yeah.
Like all these alien movies the last 20, 30 years.
Right. Exactly.
Basically, they knew there was a point coming up around now where they would have to disclose. So they're like slowly preparing us. I
Yeah,
think I think that's a possibility that he's, you know, in a comedic way, putting stuff out there that he already knows about. I don't know. Shit's wild.
yeah. I mean, I don't. Who knows with people in the world of celebrities and entertainment, but the people typically misconstrue what the Freemasons are, just because I don't know whatever president it might have even been Lincoln. I think he was a Freemason, but it was what some Republican 120 years ago. That's what the media ran with, was that the Freemasons were inspiring a new world order, but the Freemasons were literally put together. The reason they formed was for when soldiers had to leave their families for war. If they were pulled in and recruited, the other family members, like the kids that were too young, you know, because back then a 12-year-old was having kids half the time, you know, they were the man of the farm. So when the dad, like someone like you and I, 17, 18, 19 years old, has to leave, our little brother was the one running the farm and taking care of the whole family. And all the families in the community would take care of each other. And it was those young boys, and that's what made them tough men. And that's what built America. That's how that works. The Freemasons have nothing to do with like New World Order. I mean, there's plenty of speculation, but there's nothing to point directly. Of course, there's secrets that they know that nobody else knows. It's just like because the presidents and people in government, they were Freemasons, of course. I mean, they all know things that other people like us aren't supposed to know. They all have secrets. You know,
Yeah.
president president just can't go in to office and just be like, oh, we've seen aliens and there is life forms on other planets and that planet and that star, they're livable. We could send half the population there, and they can't reveal all that shit. Oh, and it's just I don't know. It's just weird, but yeah, the Freemasons are not like a New World Order type of thing, really. I mean, I know a handful of them, and like my buddy Steve, I was driving through Thomaston a couple months ago, and he's up on a roof, and I pulled in the driveway, and it was a Saturday, and he was up there with his dad, and Steve is like he's like the grand master or whatever of the local chapter. I don't know what they call it. But him and his dad, who's like almost 80 years old, are up re-roofing this guy's roof. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing working on a Saturday roofing? And I'm like, Steve, what are you doing? He's like, oh, he's one of the oldest members. This guy's like 92. We can't afford a new roof. This is what we do. It's like, that's what Freemasons do. So the whole chapter threw in to buy the asphalt, and Steve and his dad laid it in a day because
Wow.
the old timer's roof was leaking. That's what they do. They just take care of their own. That's all it is. It's not like some huge conspiratorial thing. I mean, it's a lot scarier to me when you see like Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift and Beyonce like greet each other all weird when they walk up at these events, and they're like, and they do these weird like symbols, and they don't like just give each other a hug and shake hands. They do these like weird like bows and head nods. It's like, oh man, I have no interest in what they're gonna do after that party. Like, I don't want to know what that after party includes because it's probably disgusting. It's probably demonic and it's being weird. But yeah, no. Anyways, that's what I know about Freemasons.
Have you seen those video clips of I think the one that sticks out in my mind is Cardi B, where they like glitch, quote unquote, and they'll be like in an interview or something, and then it just looks like they freeze, and
No.
someone just asked them a question, and they don't move a muscle. And then
Oh,
after like 5 seconds or something, they snap out of it and like get back to the conversation.
yeah, because they're, I don't know, probably robots. That's their doubles. They don't go to those things. They're just on a beach somewhere in paradise. They're like,
Oh
no, just
man.
send the AI robot. Yeah, I'm not going to that. Nope, don't have time for it. Don't care.
Imagine one day we find out all of those conspiracies are true. All the crazy shit, like the body doubles and the fucking
Well, like,
clones,
well, the thing is, like,
underground cities.
yeah, I know. Well, there's definitely those, and there's a lot of weird shit underneath the North Pole that we're never going to know because, well, we might, but not before you and I die. But that's the whole thing. Everyone freaks out about, well, that's a whole other subject. But going back to the glitching thing, that's what's weird is because, like, Biden in the debate with Trump, you know, the guy's what, fucking 82 years old? So he gets asked a question, then you get this. And he's got nothing, there's nothing processing in there. But Cardi B, what is she like, 33 years old, if that? Like, that's
Right.
the weird part is the younger celebrities where that happens. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just freaky.
Even
Yeah.
during basketball game, like I've seen a few like of basketball players
Yeah.
like during a game and shit. It's like, what is happening? It's fucking weird.
I think them dudes are just full, they're full of testosterone. So they're looking at some cheerleader they want to bang after the game or something like that. And someone asks them a question they have no interest in answering. And they're just like, fucking, in their head, they're just like, I want to fuck that thing so bad later. I mean, think about it. And they have the money, they have the means. That's what they do. So they can. I mean, you and I
Fair.
can't, we couldn't just go to a game and just ogle at a cheerleader and be like, I'm taking her home tonight. It doesn't, you have to be the athlete to do that. Like, think of like Edelman or Gronk. I mean, the way those guys partied in their heyday, 6, 7 years ago, you can only imagine. They're just like, and you get on the bus. Like, they just choose. And they don't pay for anything. It's all on the house. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. They pay for drinks and shit, but I don't know. It's just a different world. But yeah, yeah. So, did we ever talk about the North and the South Pole?
We did. We can talk more about it if you want. We've discussed it a few times. I think a few episodes I brought up that explorer from like the early 1900s um who went down there and said he found a bunch of shit.
The
And then
South Pole?
Yeah, South Pole. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about, huh?
That's why we're not allowed to go there anymore. If you're
That's
just
what I think.
if
Yeah.
you're a civilian, you can't go to the South Pole. They have like severe restrictions, like security around it. What
Yeah. That's probably the biggest conspiracy theory, right? Like, why? Why did every single country agree not to let anyone there?
exactly? Yeah, I mean,
Strange.
and meanwhile, there's all these theorists like Graham Hancock and stuff that are like, we'll find out sooner than later what's underneath the North Pole because that's when on Rogan's show they had Randall Carlson, the weather expert guy, historical weather expert. He's
Yeah.
fucking genius. And the two of them were on Rogan's show, and that's when they basically just debunked global warming because Randall Carlson showed how, yeah, the rays of the sun and the way the earth spins changes over time. So certain places get warmer and colder. That's why that happens. So right now, the way our axis is spinning is that the North Pole is warmer, but the South Pole is colder. And there's like something like 300 million metric miles of ice that have grown in the South Pole that have left the North Pole. And
Wow.
I mean, I think I said that in the last cast. Like, you can go to this local diner and there's a picture of the breakwater in Rockland. 100 years ago, the water line to this day is exactly the same. It hasn't changed at all.
Wow.
Where's the rising tide? And why do people like Obama buy houses on the south side of Martha's Vineyard that they said were supposed to get washed away? Really? They said the same thing about
Yeah.
the south side of Nantucket. So, I mean, it's all hogwash. I mean, the weather changes generationally. And what is it, 10 years per generation? That's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think so.
X was 72 to 82 if I think correctly, and we were the millennials, 82 to 92, and so on and so forth. And then what, the Y generation, whatever it was, isn't that the ones with Y2K, year 2000 or whatever the fuck they were called? I don't remember.
Yeah, and I just heard the new one, Alpha, Gen Alpha. Is that the new one?
I
I
don't know.
can't
They don't
remember.
look alpha. They don't have any body. They don't have any muscles or body hair. They're all tall, skinny little kids.
I don't remember what it is. It was
All they want,
something I.
all they want to do is play Minecraft until they're 18, and then they realize they're a pussy because there's no job they can get. And then they're like, "Oh, I have to start lifting weights and hitting a punching bag." It's like, you got a few years of catching up to do, pal. You didn't play any sports. You don't really, you were a C student. What the fuck? I don't
Well,
know.
it doesn't help all the fucking bullshit they put in our food. That's actually on my
Yeah,
list of topics, is because they just had that hearing recently. Like, they need to bring up the fact that we're getting loaded with all this shit.
poison.
Like, you really have to have a hearing at the Senate. Like,
Our government is letting U.S. food companies get away with serving American citizens harmful ingredients that are banned or heavily regulated in other countries. Even worse, American food companies are selling the same exact products overseas without these chemicals, but choose to continue serving us the most toxic version here. It's un American. Let me give you some examples of McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3, and salt is optional. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States. But they don't do that across the pond. This is Skittles. Notice the long list of ingredient differences. 10 artificial dyes in the US version and titanium dioxide. This ingredient is banned in Europe because it can cause DNA damage. Artificial dyes are made from petroleum, and products containing these dyes require a warning label in Europe that states it may cause adverse effects on activity and attention in children. And they have been linked to cancer and disruptions in the immune system. This on the screen back here is Gatorade. In the US, they use red 40 and caramel color. In Germany, they don't. They use carrot and sweet potatoes to color their Gatorade. General Mills is definitely playing some tricks on us. They launched a new version of Trix just recently in Australia. It has no dyes. They even advertise that, when the US version still does. This is why I became a food activist. My name is Vani Hari, and I only want one thing. I want Americans to be treated the same way as citizens in other countries by our own American companies. 60 years, almost all food additives were being created for one sole purpose: to improve the bottom line of the food industry and not improve our health. These chemicals were created to mimic real food, to make it easier and cheaper for food manufacturers to preserve their food, to make it last longer on the shelf, to help manufacturing, and sinister of all, to allow them to create products that are more addictive in nature. I ended up quitting my lifelong career as a corporate management consultant to investigate and write about food full time. During my investigations, I found an alarming discovery. We use over 10,000 food additives here in the United States, and in Europe, there's only 400 approved. We were able to get Subway to remove azodicarbonamide from their bread in the United States after another successful petition. And as a bonus, there was a ripple effect, and almost every bread manufacturer in America followed suit. I want to make an important point here. Ordinary people who rallied for safer food, shared this information, and signed petitions were able to make these changes. We did this on our own. But isn't this something that the people in Washington, our elected politicians, should be doing? We deserve the same safer ingredients other countries get. We cannot allow our own American companies to treat us this way anymore. We've had enough, it's unethical, and it needs to stop.
Yeah, I know.
I thought people knew this, but it's really disturbing. I think they said initially back in the day they allowed, what is it, 700 chemicals or something like that.
Yeah,
And then Europe still has that same, or seven, I wish I could remember,
I think
that
you're.
same amount.
Yeah,
And then we have something like 12,000 now that
right.
they put
That's
in
what.
our
Yeah,
food.
that's It's somewhere. It's either 1,270 or 712,000. It's somewhere, whatever. But
Right, right.
you guys, whoever, if anyone's listening, you understand the dynamic and the metric of what we're trying to talk about here.
Well, and I'll plug in one of my famous videos that has the top and bottom cut off of it, but I still I still haven't figured out how to. I wish I could shrink it down a little bit, but I'm
Right.
getting there. I'm
Did
getting
you
there.
did you see that quick clip on, I don't know, it was viral on like YouTube and Instagram and all that shit. And it was talking about the how our food is just poison. And it showed like what would they be called? Like the minister of health or whatever they are, and all our
Okay.
whoever, the director of,
Ambassador or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, the director of like health and dietitians or whatever. They're all humongously obese, like so many countries in the UN, our country, the UK, Canada. They're all these humongous fat fucks. It's like, who are you to tell me what to put in my body? Oh, you need 11 different types of grain and 9 different types. Where do you come up with these numbers? Everyone's different. Like,
They come up with the numbers depending on who's giving them money to promote their product.
yeah, exactly. Just like the vaccine companies. There's no difference. There's literally no difference.
Yep. Do you
Uh,
think it will make a difference if Trump gets in there and RFK gets to work? You think he'll actually get something done?
I hope so, but I think, honestly, at this point, I think the person that's going to make the biggest difference because he has the biggest outreach and the most love and hate throughout the entire world because how powerful he is Elon.
Yeah.
I didn't even, dude, I didn't even know that he sent one of his rockets to rescue our astronauts that were running out of supplies that were stranded there for
Yeah, I
eight.
had heard that.
They were stranded for 8 extra months than their mission was supposed to be. We can't go get our own astronauts. The private citizen has to send one of his rockets to go save them, and it gets zero press coverage because he's a racist and he allows free speech that we can't control. Like, dude, that's like beyond psychotic thinking. Like, what? And now the guy's sending the most high tech drones that are better than our military's drones to drop supplies off, and they're trying to shoot the FEMA's trying to have cops and the military shoot them down. Like, what a fucking disaster this is. I mean, ugh.
Oh, but they'll plaster all over the news how what is it in Prussia or over there? I guess it's in Russia where they're using the cyber trucks. They outfitted them with like Sentry on top and shit.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, they're. I heard that they are putting that out in the news that Russia's using these cyber trucks.
They're Elon models.
I mean, they're his trucks, but
Huh.
he didn't outfit them. They took them and then like put a turret on top and shit.
Oh, so he probably had like one of his designers or scientists that like defected for some insane amount of money that Putin was willing to pay him, and just was like, "Yeah, I have this microchip right here with everything you want, buddy. Five $5 billion. Here you go.
Uh,
House on the coast. What up?
and I
Down.
think in the article they specifically mentioned how they were like no sign that anyone's trying to disable these vehicles because that was a big thing. They were telling him that when the government wants him to disable one of the Teslas for any reason, that he should do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're still trying to implement that. The current administration, Kamala was talking about that in some interview the other day that I saw. Um, Talking about anything and everything that has AI capability, they should be able to take our usability away if we fall into some specific algorithm. That's overall what they want. It's like the
So
red.
they're prepping for a social credit system.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like China. They want it to be just like China, so they can just
Oh
be like,
shit!
"Oh, you did that? Well, you got 70 grand in your savings. Let's just cut that in half. That's what you owe us. That's your fine. And, well, now you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage, so we'll just repurpose your land and your house." That's what China does. That's what they want to do here. Why do you think they're selling everything to BlackRock and all those fucking huge, disgusting companies?
Yeah, they got 44% now, I think, somewhere around there. Single family homes, they own 44%. Shit's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, yeah, half the country, more or less. Where's the other 6%? Oh, right, they moved illegal immigrants into them. Cool, awesome. And they don't have to pay for anything, so that's cool. Ugh, fucking word.
Well, I mean, come on. They're at least giving these hurricane survivors $750 that they have to pay back.
Oh, you can't. You can only imagine the difference that makes. I mean, holy shit. They can
Oh, but you gotta pay it back though.
yeah, you got to pay it back. What I just it's unbelievable. I mean, these dudes like did I send you that video of that huge motor? It's just a regular it's a really big fishing boat. It was obviously stolen. And these whoever they were from wherever they were, they just smashed onto this beach at about 70 miles an hour. The boat slides about 100 yards up the sand, and there was at least 60 guys that just jump off this thing with backpacks and just start running away.
Holy shit.
Dude, that's what they do all day, every day, all up and down the coast of California. The videos are never ending. You can my Brent sends them to me. I don't tweet or use X or whatever, but they he sends me the links all the time. It's constant. They just pour in like that. I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of boats like that. They just smash them into the sand and just run into the streets. And there's like tons of videos, and you'll see a cruiser or two or three, and the cops just like, what direction are we even supposed to go? Because they just
Yeah.
scatter like water bugs. They run every direction. And the cops are just like, dude, I didn't have enough fucking coffee this morning, and I didn't have an appetite. I'm not even hungry. I hate my job and my life. And they overwork them too. I mean, these guys, the cops, the Rockland cops, they can't find any help. But their offer is like, I don't know, 35 to 40 an hour. And they're like 3 days on and 4 days off, 36-hour work week. And I'm like, well, 4 days off is cool, but nobody wants to work a 12-hour shift. A 12-hour
Yeah.
shift is terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
even if the money and the benefits are good, you got to balance that shit out. Call it a 40-hour week in 4 10s, like normal people. You know? Tons of companies do let their guys do 4 10s. If you offer your boss that, if you're looking for a raise and you're like, hey, or whatever, if that's the structure that's going to work better for you regarding your children, childcare, your wife's schedule, your better half, your roommate, what the fuck, your dog, your cat, whatever, any circumstance, almost any boss in the country would be like, dude, do 4 10s. So long as you get your 40, that's all I need. That's fine.
Right.
They don't give a shit. So it's like, why force these guys? Like, if the job sucks that bad, what do you think those guys are doing 4 days off? I mean, most of them that I come across, I don't know if I've ever met a cop that hadn't been previously divorced or had a uh, what's engagement like fall apart. They all have like some history of something terrible happen, and their dad was a cop and their uncle was a cop. It's in the family. It's like, yeah, so was fucking construction in my family, and we fucking all hate it. So what's the point of doing something no one likes? It's like, it's just stupid. I don't know. That's kind of why I want to get into it, because like I was telling you the other day, hey, I always speed everywhere I go, and I always have a gun on me. So if they want to pay me to do that, might as well do CBP. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be
For
fun.
sure.
I mean, especially they have some of these some of the boats they have around here for patrolling. They're like the Coast Guard boats on crack. They have four four 600 horsepower motors, and like the big tube ones with the hard hulls, so they like never sink. You know those ones with
Yeah.
huge center console that like four men like armed can stand inside, and the one guy's driving like a million miles an hour. Dude, have fun with that, baby. Just cruising around. I mean, yeah, I'm swinging a hammer, I'm building a wall. Let's stand this wall and fucking install this kitchen. It's just, dude, there's nothing, there's no, that's, I think that's why I came to hate it, is because there's no creativity in carpentry anymore. Everyone just wants basic bitch. And it's no fun for me. Because that McFall, that billionaire, that it was all Doug Fir. Remember that one I did like 5 years ago? Rebuilt the
Yeah.
whole second and third floor, ocean facing. That the demo guys, the company fucked up. They were supposed to save everything that was savable and take pictures. They didn't take pictures of anything. So I had to just look around the rest of the house and mentally recreate how it may have looked in my head. And it was the coolest fucking project I've ever done. And 4 years later, it was just like, there's nothing about this that interests me. You know, it's just the same square casings. Half the time, they don't even let us do extension jams. It's the new modern look. All you do is you put a windowsill, and then they just do drywall returns. No extension jam, no casing, no skirt board, no header, nothing. It's like, what fun is there? There's no passion in it anymore. And exterior is the same way. Corner boards, interior returns, and then clapboards or cedar shakes or vinyl. And that's it. And most of the time they have us butt into the window these days. They're like, oh no, no exterior window casings, no, just go right to the window over the flange. And it's like, you just want to grab the architect by the neck and just be like, you couldn't just give me that one thing, that one fucking detail. It just, it just took the piss out of it, dude. So I don't know. That's why I'm getting away from it. But yeah, going back to like policing and shit. I mean, I don't even know how those guys do it. That's it's like in Boston and Providence, dude. Have you heard the news? Like, how many hotels in Boston and the greater Boston and Providence area, the government is paying for rooms for these illegal immigrants and giving them 60.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing it there too.
Oh, they're doing it everywhere. $64 a day per person for food, pickup and delivery, dry cleaning. And you know who's out on the street holding the sign? A Vietnam vet, an
Yeah.
Afghani vet, sitting in a wheelchair, an Iraqi vet, holding the one crutch, holding the sign. Well, these guys just walk around in new clothes, debit cards. Oh, it's another thing. $800 a month, always recharged, never gonna end. I mean, it's they're just America last. That's what we've become. I mean, look at they've done nothing to help down south, and the media brags that they have. No, you can just go on X and look it up. You can go on YouTube and look it up. There's just a ton of soldiers in helicopters just waiting for orders that they haven't been given while people are drowning in mud. Their towns just completely swept away. They're finding dead people in trees when the water subsided. People dead, stuck in trees that drowned, just tangled in branches. Like I just can't even. It's really just disgusting. I mean, did you see that? Let me read you this. Um, so this is what our vice president running for the presidency posted on her X earlier today. The people of Lebanon are facing an increasingly dire humanitarian situation. I am concerned about the security and well being of civilians suffering in Lebanon and will continue working to help meet the needs of all civilians there. To that end, the United States will provide nearly $157 million in additional assistance to the people of Lebanon for essential needs such as food, water, shelter, and protection, and sanitation to help those who have been displaced and affected by this recent conflict. This additional support brings total U.S. assistance to Lebanon over the last year to over $385 million. End of post. Really? So that they can't just print, they just print $385 million for Lebanon, but our people only get $750 and they have to pay it back? Where's their $385 million? They ain't asking Lebanon. They ain't asking Ukraine to pay nothing back. Like, it's fucking pathetic, dude. I don't even know how to feel patriotic anymore. It's
Yeah,
fucking sad, dude. I mean,
yeah, it's disturbing.
it really is. You got anything funny on the docket so we can stop being so dreary?
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Let's see here. I just got, well, let's see. I got some stuff here, not so funny, but um, just relating to what we were talking about, how, and we were talking about this the other day, how there are a lot of signs showing that it's possible that our own government are the ones who sent this hurricane up there to get at those
Red states.
zinc, I'm sorry, quartz and lithium deposits that are in North Carolina.
Hey, it's Glam Ham, and I have some mind-blowing dot connecting about Hurricane Helene. I'm going to start here. This lady sent this picture from South Africa. You all know I covered the blob anomaly and South Africa's crazy weather. These blue jelly balls were raining on this lady's parents. She asked me to look into this. Here's how this went, and trust me, it links back to this, and it's mind-blowing. I start to look into the jelly balls. Knowing it's not a craft project raining from the sky, I move on. I find that this is not the first time that blue jelly balls have been raining from the sky. This was 2012. We'll get back to that. I came across this. Blue jelly balls look kind of similar, and this is talking about how we could be drinking from water bottles made of these like gummy balls. Sounds charming? Let's move on. Thank goodness scientists looked into this and found out it was not marine eggs. These jelly blue balls raining from the sky were made of sodium polyacrylate. So I find out that polyacrylate has an impact on temperature, and it can be used for cooling and reflecting. It is not biodegradable and doesn't decompose quickly in nature, which is a little concerning if it's raining from the sky. So I go back to looking for anything that looked like a jelly blue ball that might rain from the sky, and I found this. This is droplet mixing with a piezoelectric transducer. Piezoelectric transducers are a type of electroacoustic sound transducer that converts the electrical charges produced by some forms of solid material into energy. It is energy related. Remember that. So, I ask AI, what does this have to do with my blue rainy jelly balls? Cloud seeding. While piezoelectric devices are not directly used for cloud seeding, they can contribute to the technology by helping control or monitor dispersal of the seeding materials like silver iodide, ultrasonic devices. Again, we have a sound element here. They may use piezoelectric transducers to create sound waves that can influence cloud formation and precipitation. Would you look at those jelly blue balls? Things you never thought you'd say. There's a sciencey description here of how they're intertwined, but importantly, these hydrophilic polymers can absorb large amounts of water. And you're thinking probably right now, what's this got to do with Hurricane Helene? Trust me. So we're energy harvesting. Now, in my video last night, I included lithium mining. I tread carefully there because I had a video banned. Now, here's the important thing, okay? The combination of piezoelectric transducers with blue polyacrylate hydrogels creates innovative solutions for sensing and energy harvesting applications. Again, with the energy harvesting. Trust me, this gets better. here's where a big lightning bulb went off. So this kind of magical property of converting energy from one source into something else that's usable occurs in certain materials, like quartz. Hold that thought. Again, we all know there's loads of lithium out there. Well, did you know there's a ton of quartz, like $530 billion worth of quartz? You may be aware that the growing use of AI is going to require a staggering amount of power. Well, it turns out that quartz, while not powering AI directly, has properties that enable the hardware that powers AI to function effectively. Okay, we're going to go back to sound now. Another message from South Africa about hearing a strange humming and sound pulsing. Well, guess what else has been heard in some of these freaky storms?
What is that noise?
What? Well, we know it's sound. So, from the comments, I quickly gathered that this sounds like an instrument called a shofar. Here's what that sounds like. Definitely very similar. Wrapping this journey that we've just been on, thanks to the jelly blue balls, some experimental weather modification techniques involve ultrasonic devices, which may use piezoelectric transducers to create sound waves that can influence cloud formation and precipitation. Is this large presence of quartz a dot we need to connect? Is the lithium a dot we need to connect? The sound? Are the jelly blue balls involved? This concludes this deep dive for now. Anyone interested in emergency communications, see my playlist Hurricane Comms for how to get started and how to use radio in an emergency. And hey, while you're at it, get your ham radio license. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
Well, not only that, also the votes.
That helps. That
You got a few
helps
hundred.
too.
You got a few 100,000 people that can't vote because their post office and their schools are somewhere in the fucking Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, most of this stuff is not very funny. I've got the Port Authority strike. I did spend quite a bit in groceries this week just to be safe.
What was it?
Bought a lot of
$500?
What's that?
Those greedy companies are making billions of dollars and they don't want to share. That's why we're out here now fighting for a contract. We're going to fight for it and we're going to win it. Or this portal will never open up again. From here to Houston. I'm not playing games here.
What do you say to people who don't understand what you guys do and they don't want the economy to shut down, but they don't fully understand the job of the men and women who work here?
That's the problem. Nobody knew what the longshoremen were. We didn't get respected, but now we will. Now we will when they find out malls are going to shut down because goods can't come in. Car salesmen are going to get laid off. Well, guess what? Everything that comes in this country comes from the containers off these ships that my men work. And I want the world to know it.
They learned during
Don't come after us saying we're greedy. Go after those greedy that own these companies in Europe. Go after them. They're sitting over there taking $4 billion bonuses for themselves at Christmas time. That's got to stop.
What was it? $578?
Yeah, it was almost 600, and then I made a couple more orders.
Yeah.
So I've probably spent around $1,000 in groceries, but I got a shitload of canned food and peanut butter, toilet paper, shit like that.
Yep.
I guess the most lighthearted thing on here, which relates to a not so lighthearted story, but I've heard rumors that Tupac is coming back to testify against Diddy.
Coming back from where? Cuba? What are they talking about?
Wherever he's been hiding. Yeah.
Oh, my word. That is almost ridiculous. Well, you never know. But that's
Imagine though, that would be the coolest fucking shit if he's like, oh, Diddy's finally in jail. I can come out and keep that fucker in jail and starts his music career back up. That'd be so fucking sick, dude.
Who remembers back when April, when I was talking about a celebrity death that faked their death, would reveal themselves in October? How many of you guys are seeing that Tupac is going to testify against Diddy? Y'all remember that? A lot of y'all been following me for a while. Y'all remember that? When I showed y'all that podcast showing all these predictions? And one of the predictions was that a celebrity who faked their death would reveal themselves in October. And we're in October. And you're seeing all this Tupac shit. Talk about Machiavelli. I've been quiet for too long. Machiavelli's return. We live in the Matrix. Where are we?
It would be, but the rumor that's pissing me off is that before the East Coast West Coast beef, but did sorry, I'm trying to multitask here, people. That Diddy and Pac, when everyone was still all friends, that they were secretly a gay couple. That's a huge rumor that's been going around now too.
Yeah, I
And
think we talked about that last week. Yeah.
well, yeah, last week's episode was a bust because I was fucking wasted. But but yeah, I mean, it's just there's just one rumor after the next, so I don't even really know where to believe all of it. I did you watch any of that? I think it's on. I think it's Netflix. It just a documentary came out about the indictment and all that. I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet because I've been binging Yellowstone. I'm catching back up. I've been watching. It seems like every single show I watch these days is Taylor Sheridan show. I mean, Yellowstone, Tulsa King, 1883, 1923. I mean, Mayor of, or,
Kingstown.
yeah, Mayor of Kingstown. I mean, dude, they're all the best shows happening right now. How does that guy have enough time to create all these shows? It's wild.
Yeah, dude.
And there's one, yeah, that's the thing, because, like, Yellowstone is very mostly, there's some funny shit, Rip just being a lunatic and beating the crap out of people and just throwing people around and saying he's going to tear them apart with his bare hands is obviously hilarious. And the way Beth talks to people, like, just owns them. Like, oh, you want to jerk off later about me while you whack you have some stooge whack you with a rubber dildo or something. It was like just this conversation they were having. Like this businesswoman's uh, standby, like her little sidekick there. And Beth was just like, bye bye. But there's funny parts, but Tulsa King, dude, how does Stallone do it? What is he, like 78? He's still a beast, dude. Like every 78-year-old I know is like, I'm 78. And he's just like, yeah, I'm still Sly Stallone. You want to
Uh,
bro? Yeah. Dude,
uh,
he's such an animal. It's like, dude, he's like a real old school Italian bloodline. Like, just gonna be able to fight until he dies. Like, he'll be like 99 and be like, you want to go? I'll shoot you with my crossbow like Rambo. Fucking dude, such an animal. It's just like mind boggling. Even dude, even uh, Terminator there, Schwarzenegger, he's still a beast too. So he posted this video on Instagram the other day. And he's just got back from the gym, and he's got his protein shake, and he's like, the secret ingredient, and he dumps in like 2 shots of schnapps. He's like, yes, the peppermint schnapps from the home country. He's like, it opens up all the glands, all the bloodlines, and lets the protein into the muscles. He's like, I've done it my whole life. And all these people were like, yo, this guy's fucking crazy. What? He's going to die. And they're like, dude, he's like the funniest, like the most liked comments where he's older than your grandfather and still doing it. When did your grandfather last go to the gym? The guy's fucking 80 years old. And it's like, you think about it. You're not wrong. Not wrong. It's wild. I mean, who cares if any of them use drugs or anything? Like, oh yeah, who didn't use steroids in Hollywood? They all fucking HGH or whatever. It's human growth hormone and all that. They all use that shit. So do all pro athletes. But it's like, oh, it shrinks your balls. Yeah, but you seen these guys? How are they still running around like this at fucking incredibly old ages? It doesn't. It's wild to me. It really is. I don't get it. I mean, my buddy's old man, or his grandfather, he's still working on fucking cars. He's turning wrenches and he's having a beer at the fucking stroke of noon. Guy's fucking like 84 years old. He'll never give up. And he's just under a car every day, standing under that lift, pulling drive shafts out, fucking, you name it. Won't let anyone help him on anything. Master mechanic. He'll just work until he collapses on that fucking concrete floor. It just those older generations, they're just a different breed, dude. I mean,
Yeah, that's what happened with my mom's dad. He owned a excavation company and drove trucks
yep,
forever and died driving his semi. Drove it through a fucking barn. Had a
yep,
heart attack.
man, man. You remember that? Remember that story? Like, I don't know. It was like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. It was that old black dude. He was like, I think he was a farmer down in I don't know, Georgia or some shit. Fucking guy was like 97 years old. Every morning he would have a cigar, and then he'd go to work on the farm. And he'd have bacon and eggs every morning for breakfast. 2 eggs, few slices of bacon. And lunch, I don't know. Dinner was always steak and potatoes. This fucking guy, 97 years old, his he was like, I don't know, his family, he had like a million kids and grandkids and shit. But his his kids finally went down to visit him because he was like, he was so old. They're like, oh, we never wanted to make him leave and have to fly or take a bus or whatever. And I'm thinking in my head, like, how selfish are these fucking kids? Like, just go visit your old man. But so
Yeah,
they hadn't seen him in like 10 or 15 years. And his oldest kids are like, Dad, you could not live like this. Because when he was done with work, that was second, possibly third cigar, and straight up fucking bourbon until he fell asleep. That was his diet. And they were like, you can't keep doing this. Fucking guy's 97 years old. Why are you going to tell him to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So they send him to this dietitian, and the guy totally changes his diet, like egg whites and cereal and bran muffins and all this stupid shit. No steak, no red meat. And the fucking guy was dead in like a week.
oh no.
Yeah, yeah, they totally changed his diet. They took away his fucking bourbon, took away his cigars, dead in a fucking week. They took
That's
all
wild.
they took all the piss and vinegar out of him. It was like putting sugar in a fucking gas tank. Not gonna work. Not gonna last very long. You know? I mean,
Yeah,
you dump a whole half a quart of fucking sugar into a gas tank. Yeah, it's gonna die in like a minute. But you just put one little packet from the coffee store. It'll take about a week, but it's still gonna fucking die. It's just fucking. I don't know. I don't know. And like I was saying, everyone's different. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with these investigations because like people like what's his name, the Canadian dude that all the liberals hate, just Jordan Peterson, him and his daughter what's her name, Michaela. She's been on Rogan like 3 times as well. She's gorgeous. His blonde daughter. She's probably like 30, something like that. Absolutely strikingly gorgeous girl. Super smart. But they're her brand, the company she started is called the Lion Diet. It's all just protein based and all meat. Because if they eat anything outside of protein, specifically steak, their bodies, both of them, Jordan and Michaela, their bodies break out in hives.
Wow.
So, yeah, face, hair starts getting all dandruffy, scaly, like horrible. So that's all they eat is fucking steak. So everyone's built differently. That's the whole thing. So that's why these these people that get paid to like tell us what we're supposed to do and like the consumption rates of this and that is total fucking bullshit. It's
I gotta tell you, you just reminded me. I had a fish sandwich from Burger King the other day.
was it good?
I I mean, there was so much shit on there. I was telling Christy, I was like, I couldn't even taste the fish really, because they gave me lettuce and pickles, and then I put nut cheese and vegan mayo on there,
Oh my
and
god, you had to burn up.
but I tried fish for the first time in almost 10 years, I think.
That's not real fish.
Well, it's probably a bunch of different fish mashed up together, but
Yeah, with pastes and weird shit.
yeah, yeah. And it's like
Is it
it was like this thing.
how very Trump of you? Boom, motherfuckers! Isn't that's his favorite thing? He always gets a Diet Coke and 2 fish sandwiches, please. That's his.
Oh yeah,
That's his when he's on the road. That's his go-to meal.
that's funny.
But yeah, speaking of
Oh, oh, go ahead.
what happened, did anything exciting happen at that rally last night? I don't keep in touch with any of this stupid shit, but wasn't that the
I
place where he
honestly
got?
didn't even.
It was the place
I
where he got
didn't.
shot in the ear that he was revisiting, right?
Oh, was it? I didn't even
I
know
think
there
so.
was
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Because I was listening to Howie driving home, Howie Carr, and they were talking about that. How they had a caller call in. They're like, "So what are you seeing on the ground?" And they're like, "There's security and cops literally everywhere." And I was just like, "That's fucking." 'Cause that was the other thing too. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, "What? Where were the actual local cops and stadies and sheriffs the first time around?" There's always at any big event, a fucking football game, anything. There's always local cops, stadies, and sheriffs and dogs these days. When was the last time you went to a game in Gillette?
Last October.
Right? It's like, dude, there's fucking these guys are dressed like they're literally in the middle of fucking Ukraine right now, walking around with fully automatics with these humongous fucking German shepherds. It's like it's just a football game. That's a former president. Where the fuck are the? How are these guys not present for that? What about all
Right.
those people? There's 60,000 people at this fucking event. It's the word I'm looking for. Where they stand up and talk. The president. Fuck, come on. I just said it.
Speech? Rally?
Yeah, the rally. Yeah, the rally. It's like, what's the big difference? You got anywhere from, depending on the venue, you got anywhere from 40,000 or 15,000 if it's a smaller one, all the way up to 80,000 fucking people. Like when he went to that football game last weekend, it's just it's like unbelievable. What's the difference? It just goes to show you the influence that that these insiders and the schemers have to just ultimately just kill this fucking guy. That's it. And I'm not, I mean, honestly, I don't know. There's just too much turmoil. I wish, like, DeSantis or J.D. Vance, who's the vice president candidate, was the one actually running. And he just stayed in the background. Because just people looking at him make the whole world freak the fuck out. The horrifiers, the terrorists, and all those assholes, because they know he's just going to shut their shit down and sanction fucking everybody and become fuel independent and tank their economies and open up our pipelines so we don't have to buy anything from them. And then that'll drain all the horrifying pieces of shit that want all of us dead. It'll bankrupt them. So they're just his face on the TV is enough for everyone to just freak out. But if you had someone that was a little more mild and younger, because like J.D. Vance was so good in the debate, and Tim Walz is this, all bug-eyed, trying to defend all the lies that he does in Tiananmen Square. I carried weapons of war into Iraq. It's like, you didn't do any of that shit, bro. Not a fucking thing. J.D. Vance is just like, no. And then they muted his mic. Like, what was that? What was that? That just tells you that the George Soros narrative is the most real thing on the planet. And I don't understand it. Do you?
No, I don't know.
Why
I
do
don't
people
understand a lot of the shit that's going on now.
why do people care what this 97 years old? He's this old terrifying man with somehow an endless stream of money. And his son is even worse. But these people are all on his payroll. Why do they want to destroy the human race? I think that goes all the way back to What's that movie with the Archer chick, Katniss Everdeen? What's her name?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not Mockingbird, the first one, whatever it was. But yeah, the same series. I can't remember the actress's name right now because I used to love her, but
Oh, dude, she's in this really good
Jennifer
comedy on Net.
Lawrence. Jennifer
She
Lawrence.
she shows her tits in this comedy on Netflix. It's hilarious.
Well, you can look up some photos that are even better, like from behind. She's completely naked. You just fucking whole butt beaver. It's a nice beaver. Yo, the kid that played in that movie, cause what the second one, the Hunger Games, um,
Yes, Hunger Games.
the kid that plays next to her, her co-cast member, um, that comes out of a shell, the little bread maker kid or whatever.
Yeah.
Him, there was an interview, I don't know, in like 2015 or 16 after all those movies came out. Then there was the other one, Bradley Cooper, where her and him are both like crazy and they fall in love, and like Robert De Niro is Bradley Cooper's dad or whatever, and it's just this whole mess. I can't remember the name of that fucking movie. But either way, a bunch of those actors were asked about how it is working with her, and they were like, "Oh, it's great. She's super smart and so talented." And but the biggest thing is, dude, she eats. She has this thing in her diet that her dietitian like prescribed her, and she eats raw garlic like all the time. Like, dude, if you eat like if you're just having a snack and you're eating half a clove of raw garlic, there ain't no gum getting that out of your mouth. So like, that's just the hardest part of working with her if you got to kiss her or you have to close up. It's like, dude, oh man. I mean, I love garlic, but and I've been told like a handful of times by other people on job sites on like hot days, like I don't know, this painter a couple of years ago was like, "Man, you must eat a lot of garlic." I was like, "Fucking right, I do. Right on top of steak, motherfucker." With fucking, he's like, "Oh, no doubt." He's like, "I love garlic. My wife hates the smell of it." Like, how do you cook it? I'm like, just make fresh garlic butter with a shit ton of garlic and local fucking real butter, and just keep turning it, turning it in a pan, two both sides, 2 times. Throw it in the oven, and then have a grill going. Throw it in the oven for like a minute on broil to finish it because it's only in the pan for about 2 minutes. 30 seconds, flip it. 30 seconds, flip it. Then flip it again, leave it on that side for a full char. Take the pan, put it right in the oven with the char side up. So the side that didn't have a full minute gets a minute of the heat from the pan, and then throw it on a grill that's cooling down, and that's the best tenderloin you're ever gonna have in your life. Best ribeye, best whatever you want to call it, filet mignon. That's the best filet mignon you'll ever have in your life if you do it just like that. And when it's in the pan, you just keep taking that fresh garlic and butter, and you just keep basting it and basting it and basting it, and just mushing it in with a fucking spoon. And then you flip it, keep doing it, and the butter gets all hot and crusty and brown. Dude, that's the best steak you'll ever have in your life. My my buddy always cooks steak in a pan, and I started doing that like years ago. Well, he cooks it in what are the iron ones we use called the old.
Skillet?
Yeah, yeah. He always cooks shit in a skillet, and he's just like my Uncle George and me. Never wash it. You just
Yeah, you're not supposed to. We don't. I mean, you can wash it with water, but
it
don't
just
use a
wipe it out.
sponge.
It's just
Yeah,
wipe it out. Everything that was in it was cooked. It's not. It's just like a grill. Do you
you don't
wash
want to
your
use the sponge could get the soap in the pores and shit. You don't want the.
right? It's like and like some of me and Jake's buddies are like, you don't wash the pan you cook your food in. It's like, when was the last time you washed your grill grates? The food you took off the grill was cooked. The food you took out of the skillet was cooked. Just wipe it. And if anything, once in a blue moon, if you had something that actually stuck, which you shouldn't if you take care of your skillet, just boil water in it, dump it out, and then throw butter in it and olive oil and salt and fucking start over. That's it. Never
Yeah, I
use.
often just use one of those skinny, long skinny spatulas. Just scrape whatever's off of there. Give it
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah.
dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I totally screwed the pooch on was that woman that sold Uncle George's house, the stupid idiot real estate broker that took her sweet fucking time, cost us a shit ton of money. Um, I wanted to get Uncle George's his skillets because they were our great grandparents. They were like, so that would be, they were probably almost 100 years old of good cooking. And I didn't think about anything like that because Georgie died on, what was that, 2021 or whatever, Christmas Eve? Like, that was the last thing I was thinking about. But I was, the other day, I was like, man, there was probably a lot of cool personal shit like that that came from, because I don't really know much about our family history. I know my grandparents, they came through Ellis Island in the late, or great grandparents came through Ellis Island in the late 1800s and had like a poultry business in, I don't know, Manhattan near Five Points where they put all the miscreants. You know, if you were a mix, which we were, we had a 5% like bastard Irish and then Netherlands and German and whatever on that side. I don't even fucking know. But I don't really know much about it. But I just wish that it would have just been really cool to have just a couple choice items like that, you know. There's not
For
many
sure.
there's not many things like when you go through something like that and you lose the last elder in your family, because who's next in terms of men? Me. I mean, yeah, I have my brother, but he's wicked effeminate and we don't even fucking talk and he can go fuck himself. So it's just, I don't know. It's just tough to think like what's next. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that because there's the things that you're gonna think about down the road when you lose loved ones that you realize it's not the big things, it's the little things that bring the fucking memories and maybe give you an idea of what had been at some point in time. That really, you look back and you're like, I got no one I can ask. So
Yeah.
you just have to imagine. So it's those little things that, you know, if I had one of my great grandparents' skillets, for example, that Georgie had for the last fucking 70 years and threw a fucking steak in it and it was the best steak I ever had in my life, there might be some taste that I'd be like, huh, how about that? Never thought about that ingredient. It's just it's the little shit that we all overlook and we all take for granted. People always want the cars, the houses, the savings when someone dies, whatever. They just want the monetary value of things, but it's like, what about the fucking memory, dude? You
Yeah.
know? So I don't know.
Yeah. My grandma, for years before she died, she had all of us, her kids, and then her grandkids, um, go through like all of her stuff. I mean, by the time she died, everything was covered in stick-it notes. She's
Oh
just
yeah,
like, put your name on it.
yep, yep. Sticky notes everywhere.
Oh man,
Well,
that's
dude, you
pretty
remember
cool.
my old man? The whole from if you're sitting on the center console in his old SUV that whenever you met him, I think he was driving the Denali. From both sides of the rearview mirror, all the way down this way, like a reverse pyramid, was a triangle of fucking sticky notes. So you could see from the passenger seat and the driver's seat, but everything else was fucking sticky notes. It was ridiculous. There, there's something about that generation. They once they invented the sticky note, who knows? That would be a fun fact to know when they came out with the sticky note. But whenever that generation found those, they were just it was like the greatest thing in the world to them. Oh, I can label everything. I don't have to waste the masking tape. And it comes right off and it doesn't leave any residue. I mean,
Right?
because dude, I remember my mom telling me that's what Yaya, my great or my grandmother, nope, that'd be my great grandmother. She would label everything with masking tape, but it would always leave residue, like the date of a sauce or hand rolled noodles. Because Yaya, obviously, she's Greek. She lived till she was like, I don't know, I think she was 96. She died when I was like 9, but she didn't speak a lick of English, like barely any. But there was always my aunt that could translate what she was saying. She would just sit there and just take her old ass hands and hold your hand on both sides and just say something in Greek to you, and Aunt Rena would just boom tell you exactly what she was saying, and Dude, she was like the head cook of the house forever. There was like 7 generations that lived there between her and Rena and my mom staying there after her parents were killed. And like, dude, it was wild. It was just but yeah, masking tape, like used old plastic containers and old glass jars was the main thing because they didn't really use plastic back then, you know. I mean, shit. When you were growing up, didn't you have a milkman?
No,
We did.
I think our town was too small.
Too
I mean, we had a
small.
lot of dairies. We had all the dairies near us, but no milkman.
Wow, that's weird. Because it was usually the small towns that had milkmen because there wasn't big grocery stores. And
Well, we had a grocery store right downtown.
well, I mean, we did too, but it was just cool because this guy would come in this old mail truck full of milk, and it was these ancient wooden crates. You know, it was always the same quart size milk bottles full of fresh milk from a farm, like right down the road. And he,
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that, I mean, my parents never did that, as far as I remember, but
yeah,
it's more than likely it was available.
yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was like, the end of the week, you put it out, and we'd be riding our, because we lived all the way at the end of our road. It was a cul-de-sac. So my brother and I think it was Thursdays, we'd be riding our bikes in the driveway, and the milkman would just be pulling out. We'd always have to wait because it was like the exact same time. And the guy was like the nicest, oldest dude ever. So we'd always just wait by the mailbox at the end of our driveway so he could pull out. But yeah, it was fucking cool, man. You pull up and there's just this crate of fresh fucking farm milk right there. These old wooden crates and old glass bottles, and he'd reuse all the glass bottles. They were nice, really good, like thick glass, and
Yeah, I know the bottle. Yeah,
yeah, he'd clean them out and reuse them. It was fucking awesome. Like,
hell yeah.
we need more of that in this world these days, people. I mean, no one wants to do any hard work. They're like, AI will figure everything out for us. No, it'll probably fucking kill us. But thanks for your dumb input. It is dumber than any dumb thing I've heard all of this dumb year of dumbness. Fuck, man, I don't know.
Uh,
I need a
all
fucking.
right.
I need a. I need to hit a nicotine here.
I hear you. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I've been cheating. I'm gonna smoke a blunt and go to bed.
If you've made it this far, I'll throw in a couple of videos at the end here. I've got one about Diddy possibly being. Oh, where'd you go? There
Right
you are.
fucking here.
About Diddy possibly being responsible for an assassination attempt on Cat Williams for trying to speak out about what he knew.
Oh yeah.
And I've got another one about it shows how near one of Diddy's homes, I mean, it looks like it's either California or Florida. I think Florida maybe, but it's a Google Earth image. It shows a shipping yard with a bunch of shipping containers and boats, and then it pans up and over about 100 meters, and there's Diddy's house. Like, what?
That's where they
That's
do the
talk
grooming.
about easy access. Holy
That's where they
shit.
do the grooming. Come on,
Wow.
shuffle them in. Just like the lunch line at school, kids. Let's go. Bunch of little
Shit is wild.
bunch of little Chinese kids and shit. Uh,
Crazy. Crazy.
what?
I
And
meant,
wait. On that note,
yeah.
where are the 300,000 missing migrant children? I bet Diddy might have an idea.
That's possible. That's
Until next
possible.
time, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there you go. All right, buddy. It's been real.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you all for tuning in. Please comment, rate, review, like, subscribe. We're on Instagram. You can email us. We have middleagedapocalypsepodcast@gmail.com. Um, and if that doesn't go through, middleagedapocalypse@gmail.com. I don't remember.
And if you hate us, just come try to find me. I live in Lincolnville, Maine. You can come try to kill me, but I don't work out.
Don't do that. But please engage with us in the comments. If you hate Hans, please feel free.
Go for it. I love it. Like
Any
bring it.
engagement will take it.
Tell
Thanks
your
for
own.
tuning in. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you too, bro. Peace out.
All right, peace.
So it looks like the feds were not kidding when they announced that they were going to be going after Diddy from every angle, because they have moved on from his freak-offs and they're now exposing him for allegedly taking out his ops. The streets have been saying for a long time that Diddy allegedly unlives his ops, and it seems like we finally have some proof. Cassie said it in her lawsuit, Little Rod said it in his, and now the feds are claiming that Diddy allegedly tried to take out Cat Williams after Cat exposed him earlier this year on Club Shay Shay. The feds also came with some shocking receipts that expose just how lucky Cat is to be alive, and it's wild. You already know that Cat is never shy about spilling the tea, and that's what landed him in this mess in the first place. Everything he said was next level wild, and of course, he came through with some receipts to back it all up, especially with his claims about how Diddy desperately wanted to get him in his bed. But the real question is Diddy just head over heels for a Cat like Cat claimed, or is he so down bad that he's doing whatever it takes to get to Cat? Well, right after the new year, Shannon Sharpe and Cat Williams decided to stir the pot with an interview that had the internet ablaze, completely in a chokehold. And Cat doesn't even talk much, but when he does, y'all, he really talks. This time he spilled some crazy serious tea that had everybody gagged. He had a lot to say about Hollywood's big names like Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, and more. But the part that got everybody talking was the wild story he shared about Diddy. Like I said earlier, Cat mentioned that Diddy tried to seduce him and get him in his bed. You got to tell him no.